Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Braden, Tim, Second Legacy, you're amazing. And oh, do we have a show for you because it involves MSNBC, Gifford's executive director. The lefty's freaking out. I mean, what more can we give you on a beautiful morning or evening for an episode of Second Legacy? Everything that we're about to show you is done for you. So please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. Sarcasm and humor deployed in a friendly two-way way. Tim, are you ready to dive into some MSNBC? This is like our bailiwick right here.
MSNBC, MSDNC, as I like to call them.
That's a very valid one. Do you want to prime the pump here with the CNN clip of what a bump stock is, or do you want to get into it and kind of surprise the people later?
Let's go ahead and show this video because this is awesome.
Prime the pump. This is number 8. Yep, this is a bump stock. This is terrifying.
Look at that. Oh my goodness. That looks fun. Wow.
It does.
That ought to bring a smile to your face.
Repetitive nature. Good sequence every single time.
Man.
Look
at that. That shoulder humping is crazy. Look at that. Oh,
it's fantastic.
Look at that muzzle discipline.
Yep, muzzle discipline. That thing is firing flat. You know what I personally love, Tim, as we get into this to prime the pump properly? I really love that on every single time you have to put a bump stock, you also have to put an M203 grenade launcher and a very oversized suppressor.
Yeah.
And probably, what optic do you think we're rocking there?
That looks like some sort of a Chinese knockoff of an ACOG. But if you could have the audio with this, you could hear the M203 going kabloom, 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 kabloom.
Well, I think we've primed the pump. I think we have. I think
there's pumping going on.
Everyone's really roaring
there's
to go.
Whole lot of pumping.
It's ready to rock. Yeah. But don't worry, we are absolutely here to kill any vibes that you got. Let's go with number 9. This should solve the problem.
Setback is this for your efforts for gun violence prevention?
Well, so let's just start with the basic fact that the vast majority of Americans don't support bump stocks, right? We have seen that a ban on bump stocks has 85% support across the board. And I think it's really important to talk about what happened today in really plain terms. You know, what happened today is that the Supreme Court has essentially legalized machine guns in this country. And if that sounds insane and unbelievable, it's because it is. A bump stock is a device that converts a semi-automatic rifle where you have to pull the trigger each time you want to fire into a rifle where you can just hold down the trigger and you can fire 400 to 800 rounds a minute. And as folks have pointed out on the show this morning, you know, bump stocks were used by the Las Vegas shooter to kill 60 people and hit 400 others in a span of just 11 minutes. And after that shooting, we banned bump stocks in this country. We took an action that was critical for protecting public safety. And today you've seen the Supreme Court roll that back.
Wow. Could you put any more misinformation in one video clip? You just hold the trigger back and it just keeps firing and 400 to 800 rounds a minute. Why not 1,000,000 rounds a minute?
1,000,000 rounds a minute.
They're just making up arbitrary facts. Yes, just hold the trigger back and the bump stock makes it a machine gun. They legalize machine guns, folks, even though you'll go to prison for actually having a machine gun, but a bump stock is a machine gun. They are just beside themselves over this, and they're just spouting misinformation. And
100%.
It is so funny that they're so scared of this thing. But again, this is all for show. But also want to make the key point that she points out, well, 85% of Americans don't think bump stocks should be legal. Well, folks, that's why we don't live in a democracy. The democracy would say that, well, if we get 51% of the vote, we could just ban everything arbitrarily. Or we could just let these bureaucrats ban things with the stroke of a pen. In a democracy, we have a republic, and the republic has checks and balances. The SCOTUS is one of those checks and balances, and they did their job.
Democracy. That's right. What they're really pissed off about is the fact that their plan of 4 years of Biden, because they couldn't pass the gun control that they wanted, they used the executive branch to overreach their authority and usurp the power of Congress. And now the SCOTUS is going, yeah, you overreached your authority and usurped the power of Congress. You can't do that. I mean, it's literally...
Where's the love for Trump from these far-left lunatics? Because Trump's the one that did it.
Oh.
Why aren't they singing his praises? Trump did the right thing, but they can't say that, even though that's what they think.
You can't.
It's so funny watching them.
She said we banned it. She said we banned it. Oh,
we did?
Who banned it? Who banned it? We did? Oh, you did. Or Trump did? Oh, wait a minute.
They can't even give Trump credit for his gun grabbing. And they hate him so much.
No, they can't even. They hate him. No, can't even do it. But you know, the interesting thing, how that started off was, how bad does this set back your gun control efforts? That's my version. And she's like, well, here's my answer that had nothing to do with your question. Wow.
I'll tell you how it sets it back. The Supreme Court's about to gut Chevron deference, and you're not going to have any
I hope
more.
so. God, I hope so. Man, you talk about unleashing the hounds of hell on all the gun control. You get rid of the ATF's overreach for the Cargill. You have Bruin, you have Heller. You come down with an anti-Chevron decision, bro. I mean, literally, we are going to have so many lawsuits and so many correcting of the pendulum.
Think about
videos that it's insane.
Think about all the people wrongly convicted under these rule changes.
I know. It's going to be biblical. That's all I can say. It's just going to be biblical. You thought it was a big deal after Bruin. You knocked down Chevron after Cargill. Holy balls.
They're going to have to create a new agency just to govern the agencies when they melt down, because everything they've done over the last 50 years is going to be undone.
I mean, in a series of a very quick time. I mean, the left is like Giffords, Mom's Man Action, every time. They are going to lose their collective minds because you're not only talking about, Tim, hitting on federal regulations, you're talking about state level regulations. I mean, this is like, it would be like the ultimate like little last crack in the dam before the entire floodwaters just go. I mean, it would be crazy, but we got to wait on that one.
We'll see.
I'm still waiting on that one. That's coming out in June, I think. I mean, it's coming out pretty soon.
I think it's this month, isn't it? We're going to find out. I hope they make the right decision. I have to believe they did.
Oh,
it's
based off this, it seems like
they're fed up.
But that's neither here nor there, because that's in the future. I've got more clips. So we've already talked about how terrifying and how scary and how amazingly, incredibly bad this is. Let's go to number 10 and here's some more fear-mongering from MSDNC and Executive Director of Giffords.
What do you do now?
Well, what we need to see is congressional action, right? As I said, this is not a controversial issue. We're talking about automatic weapons. We're talking about military-grade weapons, right? Machine guns were developed for the American military. They have been outlawed in this country for decades. I think that's important to know. We have been regulating machine guns since the 1930s, right? These are military-style weapons. And so what we need to see is bipartisan congressional action to ban bump stocks immediately. And I think if you're thinking about this fall and you're thinking about the election, this is an incredibly impactful moment where Americans will see very clearly who supports public safety and who supports the gun lobby and the gun manufacturers.
Yeah, I mean, because those military bump stocks are all over the place out there. It's crazy.
Oh man, they're everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy how they work.
Definitely developed for military use. I mean, gosh, little did I know.
Machine guns.
I mean, thanks to her for enlightening me on that. And I also get a kick out of her saying, the machine guns are banned. No, they're not. Machine guns are banned, and they have been for a long time. That's why we heavily regulate them. Well, do you regulate them or are they banned, sweetheart? Because you can't have it both.
Right.
It's like they don't even know what they're saying.
No, dude, it's all about how many buzzwords of fear can I get in here to my left-leaning liberal MSDNC audience in order to scare them into voting for Biden because he's just that terrible. I mean, dude, that is exactly what you're watching. You are watching propaganda in action. Also, I would just like to throw out, hey, remember, Tim, that one time, it was pretty recent, where for like 3.5 years, Republicans were all the evil and they would owned by the gun lobby, and the dark money controlled Republicans for gun rights and knew they would never, ever, ever do anything that would infringe upon gun rights, and they're evil for it. But now bipartisan support is required because everyone loves us.
I know.
We're all friends now.
85%.
Right? It's like, man, you guys tried your executive BS and you got smacked in the face, and now you're coming back and be like, Republicans, we're friends, right? We're friends. Everyone, we can be bipartisan, right? Yeah. Bipartisan. We like bipartisan. Everyone likes bipartisan. And don't remember, November's coming up, people. November's coming. They are trying to pull a Dobbs decision on the election coming up. That is exactly what they're doing.
This goes nowhere 100%. Before the election. Nobody's going to touch this.
Nowhere. Not even a chance in hell. I mean, like, no way. That does not even remotely get brought up. They're going to try to use it as a political cudgel.
That's all it is.
And say how extreme and insane the Republicans are. So you should probably vote for Democrats because who's with the gun lobby and the gun manufacturers? And the SCOTUS is out of whack.
Yeah. It's out of balance, folks.
Is it?
Because it doesn't have a leftist majority, so it's out of balance.
It's got to be. Yeah, unless you are fully 6'3" leftist, you're out of balance because balance is actually tilted to the left. You didn't know. But people will know eventually. We'll figure it out. Well, anything else on that second clip? So I got one more.
Let's hit one more.
One more. This is number 11.
So this obviously takes away the federal regulation that had been established by the ATF. But what about state level laws? Do you see a path forward in that direction?
We do. And I will say, I'm the executive director of Giffords. Over the last 10 years, we have been able to pass over 600 state gun safety laws, which have strengthened gun safety in a variety of places across this country. And so, yes, we see that in the absence of federal action, in the absence of Congress taking action that would protect the American people, there's a lot that states can do. I'm sitting in Chicago this morning. Illinois has a ban on bump stocks, right? Every state is able to ban bump stocks if it chose to. And certainly I think that if state leadership, state governments are watching the Supreme Court decision this morning and they're horrified, there is something that we can do. But more broadly, we need to see bipartisan congressional action immediately to ban bump stocks in the House and in the Senate, which is something that the vast majority of American people, in addition, including Republicans, have been really clear that they want.
Including Republicans, Tim, because after all, Republicans are our friends. We've never said anything bad about them, and we've never said they had blood on their hands, and we've never said they're evil.
And yet she still hasn't given Trump credit for banning them.
It's so weird. It's so weird. You'd think that there'd be such an easy, low-hanging piece of fruit there.
Yeah,
but
even Trump wanted these gone, and these crazy maggots. Yeah,
you'd think maggot. Wait, maggots?
That's what they call us on X now. Anybody that doesn't vote for Joe Biden is
I get it.
Magrat or maggot.
They're trying to meme.
Yeah, they're trying to meme
Everyone
again.
knows the left can't meme. Everyone knows they can't do it. But Tim, I would like to point something out there that I think is so fascinating. She's trying to capitalize, because left always does. The gun controllers particularly, they always capitalize on some sort of emotional event for their left. They always do it. So she's trying to capitalize on a Supreme Court decision while not clarifying what she's trying to emotionally capitalize on in order to get more states to ban bump stocks. All the states that have banned bump stocks are all the left bastions. They've already done
Florida
it.
did it too.
Did Florida actually ban bump stocks? Is that actually
I think they did.
Well, you look that up. Let me finish this point. But the whole thing here is they've already banned bump stocks in all the blue states. I mean, they banned bump stocks before they banned ghost guns. I mean, that was step one, bump stocks. Step two, everything else we want. I mean, literally, red flag laws were after bump stocks. There was so many things, and bump stocks was the crown jewel to get rid of machine guns that aren't machine guns.
Yeah.
The whole thing is hypothetical, but is Florida?
Yeah,
Did Florida ban
it? Florida State Gov
Okay,
website, Chapter 790, Section 222, the 2018 Florida statutes. Section 790.222, bump fire stocks prohibited. A person may not import into this state or transfer, distribute, sell, keep, or sale, or offer for sale, possess, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I thought they did.
Okay, so Florida.
But that's what they're going to do. And
good memory.
And this is something that we've talked about before. And you see them talking about it here. They're losing at the federal court level. They're losing at the legislative level in Congress. So now they're going to move it down to the state level because they know they can get these little pockets of far left lunacy to go along with their agenda. And so you're going to see, California go along with it, Illinois going to go along with it, but then they're going to hit a wall. They're only going to have a handful of states they're going to go with their agenda. But that slowly bleeds out into other states, right? You go back 30 years, California was the loony anti-gun state, and that's bled over into neighboring states and across the country. So that's what they're hoping for is they'll get their little footholds now. They're playing a long game like all communists do. And they're just hoping that down the road that these footholds, I knew I could slide it in there. They're going to get these little footholds. They're going to use those to exploit, your rights, and they're going to grab them as fast as they can. And so that's all they're doing here, folks. This is politics 101 that they're playing in an election year.
100%. Well, that's what I got for you.
That's it. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on these crazy little leftist lunatics and see what they come up with next. They're always good for something. Thanks for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.